So there's a lot of risk out there, and risk is one of those things as far as investors go, like me and you. It's one of those things that we have to manage. And there are some risks out there that sometimes are beyond our control, but we have to make sure that we're doing the best thing that we can possibly do to protect ourselves. One of the things that I'm talking about is these wrench attacks and these scams, these social engineering scams, or just people just losing their funds for just ridiculous reasons. And these are the things that I get constantly in my inbox, like this email, which was a while ago. It says, "Hey, Rob, I've been thinking about custody risks. I mostly use self-custody, but also have MicroStrategy stock to diversify the risk somewhat. I lost a decent chunk of asset held on Celsius, another problem. So I appreciate and understand your point of view about leaving funds on exchanges, which we do not recommend. What I'm not clear on is whether an ETF is any less risky than an exchange. Couldn't a custodian for an ETF could be hacked? Well, just like Bybit. You have mentioned you were considering switching some funds to ETFs to diversify, so I'm keen to understand why you are more comfortable with that than holding on exchange. Given the ETF custodian is often Coinbase, isn't the risk of leaving funds on Coinbase the same as just buying one of its clients' ETFs like IBIT? What am I missing?" Well, first of all, it's a great question. And it's something that we really need to address, especially as these wrench attacks and these scams and different things that are happening, especially considering that we've had a data leak on Coinbase. So if you have a substantial amount of crypto or even a moderate amount of crypto on the dark web, I can guarantee that, and this doesn't affect all Coinbase users, but a lot, they have your name, they have your physical address, and they know exactly how much you have sold. Not that that's actually on the exchange, but what they've actually let go and how much you've actually bought over time. So just a real quick rundown, just so you can understand that Rob's just not making these things up. This just happened this year, and all these stories happened just this year. This was somebody who actually took hostage of an Italian tourist because they lured them into their hotel. They knew exactly where they were. And over a 2-week time frame, the victim was abducted. He was shocked with electrical wires. His leg was cut with a saw, and he was forced to smoke crack cocaine. This was a story on May 30th, 2025. After 2 weeks, he didn't give them anything, but all they wanted was his Bitcoin address. So he could have made this very easy on himself and lose millions, but he held out for 2 weeks, and he was actually rescued. That's just one story. As a reminder, the Ledger co-founder on January 21st, David Bowell and his wife were abducted from their home and taken to separate locations. Kidnappers demanded 100 Bitcoin, which is about $10 million, and they sent one of David's severed fingers as proof, i.e. they cut off his finger and sent it to the other co-owners and said, "Pay us or you're going to find some more fingers." He was actually rescued. They freed his wife, found tied up in a car. Total suspects apprehended, 10 gang members now facing life imprisonment. There was also one, I think this is from Chicago, where an entire family was kidnapped for $15 million. Looks like these were Chinese nationalists. A lot of them got away, some did not. And then just recently, I didn't know about this story. This was actually sent to me. Teens allegedly kidnapped Las Vegas man to steal $4 million in crypto before stranding him in the Mojave Desert. And I want to read this to you because it's going to really hit home about who's actually pulling the strings. Kidnapping, crypto extortion started in Las Vegas and in a remote desert. Austin Fletcher, these kids were 16 years old. The pair stalked and extorted Las Vegas crypto businessman Anthony Miller last year, Las Vegas stated. Miller said he was at a small crypto convention that was scheduled around the time. And Miller told he went home to his Las Vegas apartment. After getting out of the vehicle, he was approached by 3 people, which were these 16-year-old kids, with guns and wearing ski masks, later identified as the alleged suspects. They forced him in the back of a SUV. This is the scary part. Miller, the one who was kidnapped, said the suspects were communicating with someone over the phone who guided them through the kidnapping. Look, I don't know about you, but it seems like there are some people out there like, this is easy money. We know where these people are. We know how much they have. Let's just find them. We'll pay some kids. And if they get caught, so much the better. But we'll just instruct them what to do, and they try to do it. Now, this didn't work out. And actually, robbers were able to gain up to $4.8 million in ApeCoin. And as far as I understood, it was sent to the people who were directing the traffic. And of course, the kids got caught. That's usually how it is. So in response to this, Plan B, this is on February 2025, he said, look, I'm out. I transfer my Bitcoins to ETFs. Yes, I know, not your keys, not your coins, but it is just easier for me to manage Bitcoin the same way as equities and bonds. Also not having to hustle with keys, giving me peace of mind. Guess I'm not a maxi. So look, I'm going the same route. And the reason is because I've had friends who have lost their entire life savings. I've had people who email me on a weekly basis, same thing, either from a hack or a scam. The wrench attacks are few and far between. I'll be honest with you. There's millions of investors. This is not like a daily thing that's going to happen to everybody, but it could. And it's one of those things that concerns me. People say, well, I'll just have a gun on me at all times. Yeah, you could, or, just like what happened in Chicago. Somebody ran into their house on accident, and actually they didn't. They came to the door and said, sorry, I hit your mailbox or your garage door, and need to come out here and we'll do the insurance. I'm really sorry about that. Comes out, turns the corner, 5 guys with guns and masks. Good luck with the gun with that one if you want to start blasting. But I'm just saying that we can just rectify this by just a little bit of a diversification of storage. That's all I'm trying to say here. I'm not saying everything. Diversification of storage, I think, is not a bad thing to do. And again, more people who have lost everything. This is from an email, back in December. Said, I've been a long time subscriber, saw your video about your friend who hacked and lost all his crypto assets. Unfortunately, something happened to me last week. All my assets worth $3 million were stolen from my Coinbase wallet. That's a bad move. This is my entire wealth accumulated over 26 years of hard work, and now it is gone. What I'm trying to say is, if this person just would have done, I don't know, put it into multiple cold storage devices. If you get hacked, let's say someone puts a gun in your head, here's my cold storage device, right? And you have it split up. Maybe you got a cold storage device in your house. Maybe there's one in your safety deposit box in your bank. Maybe it's with your Aunt Jessie. I don't know. But you've diversified your storage portfolio. So the option is, do you want to do ETFs? Me, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do ETFs. What I decided to do was this. And you don't have to do this. I'm just telling you my story, but it's up to you. So I've bought multiple ledgers over some time, and I've bought multiple TANGEM wallets. Now, to understand how to use TANGEM, there's a link in the description, TANGEM cold storage wallets, where I tell you why I like it, go through the process and everything else, and why I'm very happy with it. Also, ledgers, tried and true. And you can do those too. I do them myself. And the last one here is iTrust. And right now it says 45% on the 7 TANGEMs and 30% on 4 ledgers. I'm not going to give you my full information, because if some hacker or some wrench attacker is watching this, maybe I only got 1 TANGEM. Maybe I got 27, 28. Who knows? But let's just say it's this. And with iTrust, I have, let's say 25%. But, in all honesty, this is probably going to go up to 50% or more. And maybe it already is. I'm just saying, I've already done this. iTrust. So why would I pick iTrust, which is mostly for a Roth IRA? And of course, with Roth IRAs, if you're interested in that, there's a reason why Peter Thiel turned $2,000 in his PayPal stock in his IRA into $5 billion. And to understand that story, again, links in the description, TANGEM staking video, deep dive, all this stuff. You can understand why I've used iTrust for my Roth IRA now for 3-4 years or something like that. But now they rolled out a new one called Custody. And this is essentially retail custody or institutional grade custody for retail. And what's great about this is, before 3 days ago, you could send in cash and you could buy whatever crypto you want. And then they would custody it on Coinbase Prime, which is the same custodial service that MicroStrategy uses. There's Michael Saylor right there. And also Larry Fink from BlackRock. And again, institutional grade custody for retail. But as of 3 days ago, you don't have to send in cash. You can send in your Bitcoin and they can custody that for you. I want to be very crystal clear here. When you send in your crypto, the crypto does not come out. It is Hotel California. You can check in, but you can never leave. Meaning, these crypto assets, Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Ethereum, Stellar, Cardano, Hedera, Sui or Sui, and Chainlink. You can send them in. They will send them to Coinbase Prime. That is institutional grade custody for you at no cost. There is a 1% fee when you sell. And when you sell, you are not getting your Bitcoin, you are getting cash. And there's a reason for that we'll talk about in a second. Also, you can do gold and silver. Obviously, you can't send in gold or silver, but you're able to buy that and put in their custodial services, which they have at, I believe, a Canadian bank. So these are the options. Also, they're going to be rolling out staking. So check that out. With ETFs, you can't do that, okay? With ETFs, it's open, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. That's it. But with this, it's open 24/7, 365, and staking will be rolled out at a later date. And I know which ones they are going to be staking. And if you've listened to my channel, you know exactly which one it is. So imagine that. You have custody service, institutional grade, didn't cost you a dime, and you get to stake it. Also, you can do limit orders. So when it reaches a certain point, you can sell or you can buy whatever else you want. That's a pretty good deal. That's why I like this. So again, this is the reason why I say it's Hotel California. It here for the iTrust Capital. It says only USD in and USD out. That just changed 3 days ago. You can put in your crypto, the ones that we just talked about, Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Ethereum, Stellar, Cardano, Hedera, Sui, Chainlink, more to come later. And when you cash out, it's cash. You can't just take, okay, I want my Bitcoin back. No. That's not how it works. You got to cash out, and there's going to be a 1% fee. You're like, well, Rob, I don't like fees at all. Look, you got to pay the piper at some point. These guys are doing everything for free. I'll take 1% for the peace of mind. I have no problems with that, especially with the same companies like BlackRock and MicroStrategy using that same service. And then I get to sleep at night and not worry about, okay, if somebody screws me over, or if somebody finds my tangems, or somebody wrench attacks me, good luck getting that, because it's just not going to happen. I'll tell you why in a second. So assets are held one-to-one off balance sheet, and there is US-based live client services. I'm going to give you a phone number. I want you to call them. They're here in California. You can talk to a live person. Crazy, right? There's no leverage. There's no loans. There's no commingling. That's all they do. So the question you have is this. Why is it only USD out? Why can't I send my Bitcoin in and get my Bitcoin back when I want? You can't do that. I'm going to tell you why. The reason why these wrench attacks happen, like we just talked about, is because it is extremely easy, except for that one crazy Italian tourist who endured 2 weeks of smoking crack. If you can hold out, you're fine. A lot of people will probably say, here's my Bitcoin address. They can take the Bitcoin, they can put it in any wallet, it can go across the world, and essentially to mint a block in 10 minutes or less. They can put it through a mixer and they can launder it. Super simple because it's Bitcoin. And that, it is true. You can do that. And North Korea is proof of that. If they've been stealing billions of dollars across the world. So why dollars? Here's the simple thing. Have you ever tried to take more than, $5,000, $10,000 out of your bank? Do you know what a pain in the A that is? It's hugely a problem. And this is one of those things where the bug becomes an actual necessity. So because it's so hard to move things out of your bank, the bank's like, why are you taking $10,000? Why are you taking $100,000 out? What are you doing? Oh, we got to know about that. And you're like, damn you. But this is actually a good thing. So with USD out, another good thing is if they're able to get that USD out, they got to put it into somebody's bank. And if they have to do a bank, banks are, again, pain in the A, KYC and AML, and they get to track all that stuff. So there is a barrier to scamming. So it's all about thinking about it from a safety standpoint, wrench attacks and scams. And iTrust is going to be the one that's going to handle this. So they have a fail-safe in. Also, they cannot send this cash to anybody's bank account but the primary holders. So if I set this, which I already have this set up, and I say, hey, I want you to send this to, Magnolia Johnson. Like, who the hell is that? Oh, that's just my friend. Nope, we're not doing that because that could be a scam. That could be a wrench attack. It's got to go to you, Rob, and then you got to do whatever you want to do with it. And again, my bank sucks, and they're not going to allow that to move anything over 10K because this, why are you doing all this stuff? And some of you might be like, well, why would you do that? Because that's my money. I can do what I want to. You're going to thank them if this actually is some type of wrench attack or some type of scam. So there is that piece. And then lastly, I would say if this is something that interests you, again, I'm just begging you at least to do the TANGEM and the ledger route. Diversify your storage. This sounds interesting to you. Don't listen to me. Get it from the horse's mouth. They just hired 37 new customer service reps. I just met them last month in California. All seem to be weird people. Here's the number, and it's real. And you can call real people. 562-600-8399. You don't have to sign up right now. Call these people and say, like, maybe this is something for me. Maybe I want to put in, I don't know, 1%, 5%. Maybe I want a Roth IRA because I want to do what Peter Thiel did and not pay income tax when I cash out. Again, Roth IRA, custody service. This is just an option for you. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing when we talk about it's time sensitive. But that is it for this piece. Thanks so much for stopping by. I do appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.